Now, something I thought would be reasonably cool is just going over the world that I've constructed now, my little homebrew world that I'm currently going through with a party of monsters. Yes, it is a monstrous adventure. Now, it didn't always start as a monstrous adventure. It did start as a human one in this little area down here. And I did have more names originally, but I just haven't put them in this map yet. This was basically the land of Safen County. A little area nestled between mountains, large spiring mountains called the Dragonback Mountains, and a small plateau to the left called the Palm Plateau. And this is mostly where the main human civilizations from this realm are currently relegated to. It's a small area considering the map, and I'll show you the other one as well. This one's a little bit larger. This shows you the entirety of it. So there's various other human settlements around this land. Don't think that's the only one, but as far as the players are concerned, it is basically the last bastion, the last main human alliance forces left on this area. So you're kind of coming at it from this whole, like, really desperate situation for the human alliances. That's the humans, the elves, orcs, halflings, gnomes, all of that. They've been relegated to this tiny little area now. It's enough to support what they've got, but the danger there is still danger pushing against that hold they have left. And of course, you still want that expansionist as part of your realm, as part of your alliance. So that was what was going to be the main element to basically pushing the human campaign forward, opening up the world to more human civilizations, more adventures, connecting the other ones left out there as well as you find them through your adventures. That would have been amazing, but it is a monstrous campaign. But a little bit more about this world anyway. So basically, the reason the humans are relegated to a rather small area on this continent is because, like, the boundary between, let's say, the elemental realms and the mortal realms, the human realm, has become thin for some reason or another. And that has caused various elemental invasions over time from the air realms, the fire realms, even hell occasionally. And that was the main one in the last decade, was this combined sort of hell-fire invasion that just wrecked the entire countryside and nearly got to the main city of Darogon in that little harem and laid siege to it. But due to a few different sort of actions and forces, the humans did succeed in pushing it back and ending that invasion. Now, all this white space now is basically because of that on the left. It's called the Ashlands now, because that is basically where this combined fire hell nation spawned and then moved northwards, laying waste to the entirety of that area, burning the ground and anything else to ash, and kind of actually infusing that magical essence into the ground so it would never ever grow again. And that is the area we start our monstrous campaign within this Ashlands, a kind of desert plain, but not so. Desert has more life than this. And that's put these monstrous clans that are all around the area into a bit of strife, because they have meager lands to kind of scavenge off now, to grow, to plant, to, capture stuff themselves, and that leaves them very desperate. Now, my adventure started in the Dragon Halls, I should say. I was going to call it the Dragon Rune Halls, but I just made it short, the Dragon Halls. This was basically the cave and stronghold of the ancient black dragon Voran Karl. Yes, I like that name. A rather wicked black dragon, kind of ruling over his minions with the whole Iron Fist, gathering his energy and that kind of thing, but more focusing on that whole death magic aspect. And starting the campaign, I had the adventurers start in here, but kind of just after a adventuring force had come through, basically decimated most of that area and killed this great ancient black dragon. Well, more what they thought was killed. because he'd created this room of runes, this giant circle that once his blood was infused with it, his soul wouldn't actually leave the plane. It could be trapped and then, through certain rituals, reborn again. And that's where I had the players come out. The great dragon is dead. You have his soul in this orb. Let's maybe try and resurrect him. Maybe not. That's up to the players. And they chose not to, which is actually pretty cool. Because he's kind of connected to the entirety of the Shadow Realm. He's more of a knight of the Shadow Realm, creating darkness and trying to basically, what I would imagine is pierce this mortal realm with the Shadow Realm itself. Bring it, in essence, here as well. To create that cavernous entrance and explode shadows on the world and wreck the human civilizations for good. Didn't work out that way in the end, but it still might. Who knows? And that was their goals. Now, the rest of it is kind of along those lines. I did have various other monster settlements around this place, all around the map actually. Not around the map entirely, just in this area. Most of this is kind of on the right and up above. Mostly undeveloped. And the world itself undeveloped as well. More just kind of fleshing it out now as I go, because I'll talk about that later. This is the Beast Isles, and this was going to be Tamel. That's continent, Beast Isles, and Tamel. Yeah. I was going to call this Shalasal, but I wasn't quite sure on that name. But yes. And this was the Ashlands here. So you can see it's kind of a small part of the whole they start on Win, but as you go with the adventures, you explore more, so it's kind of fun. Anyway. Various little monster clans around the place, all fighting for their own sort of dominance in the area. Trying to get their own, make their own way, but unfortunately for them, the human alliances did take the opportunity to march northwards through the Lion's Gate and kind of camp around what's known as the Wyvern Spires, these great ancient black jagged towers that reach up into the sky. Some kind of magic pulsating on them through the land, but not really knowing exactly what it is. Hint, hint, that's how all the elemental invasions happen. But yes, that's what kind of happened and kind of set things in motion for the campaign and the various other monster clans as well. Having the human alliances and a large military force at the base of the Ashlands and the Wyvern Spires has made it a lot harder for them to live. And of course from there, as the campaign goes and as maybe the military might goes unchallenged, it has so far, they're going to keep expanding, going out and maybe even attacking the various other settlements around. So that's going to be fun. Now I do have various other things. The Orc area up here of Dagger holds a lost sort of city of them, but also there's the Dread Stone Cliffs around there somewhere. Arcane Towers, a kind of neutral city, free for anyone to enter, even those of the human alliances, as long as they kind of don't show that they're from the human alliances, but yeah. So you've got various trolls walking around and kobold and goblin groups, and there's a drow area there and all that kind of stuff. So it's this giant melting pot of various races and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty amazing. Now the Arcane Towers are run by 5 very high level mages, and I did kind of argue with myself about whether it's like a good thing to show the PCs early on that they're a much more dangerous people than them, but kind of worked out in the end. Over here I had the Spear Cliffs where a larger knoll sort of settlement is. The Mistmoors where this funny little, say, vegan / goblin / fae group live. The Broken Shores, more another neutral city but more trade kind of based, trading between the Beast Isles elsewhere and also dealing with lots of other sort of underhanded elements. Crimson Rings, more of very magic orientated area. City itself built around kind of a worship of star movements and alignments and all that kind of thing. Kind of cool. Lots of ritualistic style killings too. And the Deep Mist Woodlands. So that's kind of, Temple of Falling Stars. That's where they're going to get to one eventually, hopefully. But that's basically what I developed so far, and there's a few other things I have put around, but that's the main stuff they're dealing with right now. Funny little groups down here, the lizard folk, the plague isles, because they're the coral that surrounds them kind of turns the water green, so plague isles. And the shiny caves, that's the kobolds obviously, they like their gems. One of the funny things about doing sort of various monster clans and fleshing them out entirely is you get to play around a lot more with cultures of these civilizations, and they differ so wildly than a lot of the human elements, and I will definitely go on to that in my next video, just about kind of what sort of elements each various racial tribe like holds to. And I've actually got this giant like D100 list of various like monster cultures that I can just roll if I need to, which is pretty funny and cool. But yeah, that is the land that I have designed so far for the players. So that's Tamel. I hope you enjoyed my little talk on my campaign and homebrew world that I'm creating, and I will see you next time for more conversation. See ya!